name is Kat, and today I want to talk about spooky, scary books. So for this video, I wanted to recommend some of my favorite spooky, scary, creepy books. And I also wanted to talk about some of the books that I'm planning to read this Halloween season, because the entire month of October is the Halloween season. Putting together this list was a little bit difficult though, because I haven't actually read a ton of scary books, but I want to change that. If you have any scary book recommendations, please let me know. But in the meantime, I have here some books that I have read and I thought they were at least a little bit scary or spooky or creepy. And there's also some books that I have not yet read, but they sound creepy and scary and spooky. So yeah, let's get into it. So first up, I have here The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is a book that I just recently read, and I was actually really surprised by how creepy and spooky it was. It's set in the 1920s in New York, and there's people with supernatural gifts and a serial killer on the loose, and the serial killer part was a lot more terrifying and gruesome than I expected it to be. If you're looking for a book that is very atmospheric and has some fun elements as well as some scary elements, then I definitely recommend giving this a try. Then I have here The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. This is another book that I read not really knowing what to expect, and it ended up being a lot creepier than I anticipated. It's about a middle-aged man who returns to his childhood home, and while he's there, he starts remembering this sequence of events that happened when he was a boy. And these events were actually pretty scary. For the most part, this book is pretty hopeful, but there are definitely some parts that are just not. There's some creepy, scary bits in there. Next up, I have here The Accident Season by Maura Fowley Doyle. Now, I haven't yet read this one, but it just sounds like it'd be great to read around Halloween. It's about this teenage girl and her family, and every October, they all just become very, very accident prone. It sounds like there's maybe a curse involved, but whatever is going on with this girl and her family, it sounds creepy and just like the perfect Halloween read. Next up, I have here a Stephen King book, because no scary, spooky reads video would be complete without some Stephen King. Now, I could mention just about any Stephen King book in this video, but I'm gonna go with Dreamcatcher by Stephen King. I read this book a very long time ago, like when I was 12 or 13, and it scared the crap out of me. I don't remember a lot of details, I really just remember it being terrifying. I believe it's about this group of guys who are like on a camping or hunting trip, and they kind of get stranded out there, and then there's an alien that comes in and starts killing them all. This book gave me nightmares. It didn't help that I kind of lived in a foresty area, but this was a scary one. Actually, all of the Stephen King books I've read have been scary, but I distinctly remember this one keeping me up at night. Then I have here Nightfall by Jake Halpern and Peter Kujawinski. This is another book that I haven't yet read, but it sounds really scary. Basically, there's this island where there's 14 years of day followed by 14 years of night. When night approaches, everyone on the island leaves. They just do, it's what they do, no one talks about why, they just get the hell out of Dodge. But this time, there's a group of teenagers who get left behind, and now they have to figure out how to survive against the terrifying things their parents were too scared to even talk about. This book just sounds scary, like from the 14 years of night to the fact that these kids are left behind. I wouldn't want to be in their situation, but I am looking forward to reading all about it from the safety of my well-lit home. Next up, I have here the Monstrousologist series by Rick Yancey. Before Rick Yancey wrote The Fifth Wave, he wrote this even freakier series. With this series, I have read the first 2 books, and I want to get to the second 2. I want to finish this up. It's set in the 1800s, and we follow this doctor who studies monsters, and this young boy named Will, who is his apprentice. It's scary and gruesome, and it's been compared to Frankenstein and Stephen King's books, so this is a good scary series. I would especially recommend this one to those of you who enjoyed The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey, because you're already familiar with like his writing and storytelling style. So yeah, give this a try, maybe in October, because it's fitting. It's a good one. Then I have here The Near Witch by Victoria Schwab. Now this book is more eerie than scary, but there is definitely a creep factor going on here. There's children that keep being kidnapped from their houses at night, and a mysterious stranger who appears in this town where strangers never appear. And of course, Victoria Schwab's writing is just beautiful as usual. This is one of my favorite standalones. It's really haunting and beautiful, and a really good choice if you want something kind of creepy but not downright terrifying. Next up, I have here 172 Hours on the Moon by Johan Harstad. This one is about these 3 teenagers who win a weekend trip to the moon, but once they get there, they discover that they might not be alone, and that just sounds terrifying. I haven't yet read this one, but I have heard very good things about it, so I might have to jump in and give it a go. Even the cover is kind of freaky with this eyeball thing happening. Whew. Next up, I have here The Forest of Hands and Teeth by Carrie Ryan. This is a zombie novel about a girl named Mary who lives in this enclosed village that's protected by a fence, but then one day the fence is breached. There's chaos and secrets and a lot of death, and I haven't read that many zombie novels, but this one is definitely one of my favorites. And finally, I have here Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. This one is about a woman named Libby who, when she was a child, her mother and her sisters were murdered and she survived, and she put the blame on her older brother. Now, as an adult, Libby starts looking back and realizing that there might have been more to the situation than she first saw, so she dives back into investigating this gruesome murder of her family. This one is very dark and like consistently creepy. I don't think this book is like outright terrifying, but it is very disturbing and dark and fascinating. Alright, there you have it. Those are some of the books I would recommend if you're looking for something creepy and scary, as well as some of the books I'm planning to add to my Halloween themed TBR this month. And again, if you have any recommendations for scary, spooky, creepy books, please let me know in the comments down below. But that is it for today, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great night, and I will have another video up soon, so I will see you then. Goodbye!